Let's welcome to the program, for the first time ever to Knockout Radio, Mr. Pat Boone. Pat, how are you, sir?
Hey, Randy, I'm doing great. Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Quite a few things to talk to you about, but we have to start with talk about the Virginia Creepers. And for those that don't know, it's a basketball team that you played for, and they had to ask you to leave because you outgrew it age-wise.
No, I quit because of my age. They didn't ask me to leave because it was for several years. The Virginia Creepers, they were based in Virginia outside Washington, D.C. The Creepers was, it was a pretty good description of us, but it was the National Senior Olympics, and I played in 3-on-3 basketball with the referees, and it was full out basketball. I played in the 70 to 75 bracket, then the 80 to 85 bracket, and then I decided I was not going to play in the 80 to 85 to 90 bracket. But the last one was in Albuquerque. And by the way, if you want to see a quick little scene of it, just type in and Google Pat Boone Behind the Back Pass. It's a play that happened in, I forget which of those 3 sessions, but a great big black guy, about 6'9", was between me and the basket. And so one of my teammates was coming the other way between us and the basket. So instinctively, I bounced past the ball to him behind my back, and he took it and scored. And if you can see that, just Google Pat Boone Behind the Back Pass. I'm there for immortality, which I'm proud of.
That's awesome. I can't wait for the show to be over so that I can go and watch that. Obviously 3-on-3, so positions don't necessarily come into play. What were the scores at some of these games?
Oh man, I can't remember those. There's a lot I don't remember. I'm 90, and I'll be 91 in June.
That's awesome.
But I don't remember the scores, but they were respectable, and it was real basketball. It's amazing how many guys my age have kept themselves in good physical condition and able to participate, and we love the sport. In fact, there were other sports. The National Senior Games is, I think, every other year, and so I participated in 3 of them.
So Pat, growing up in Indiana, obviously basketball was my favorite sport, but you're 100% right. Running and sprinting and playing basketball is great for bone density and for longevity. So,
you probably, excuse me for interrupting, you probably don't know this, though. I'm the only entertainer that was involved in the creation of the American Basketball Association. I was right there with George Mikan and the others when we established that, and I was the sole owner of the Oakland Oaks when we won the second championship in our second year of existence, and we beat the Indiana Pacers in the last game in Oakland. And Rick Barry, of course, was our major Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame star. But anyway, I was involved in it. I owned the team, and then, of course, when the league went down the tubes and some of the teams went to the NBA, the Oakland Oaks vanished, and with it, my bank account almost.
I got to jump in and just say this. I think Matt's about to have a stroke. As he's listening to you talk basketball,
oh, yeah.
His face, I've never seen him light up like this.
Wow, yeah.
Well, it was a gigantic thrill, of course. But, the horrible part is, as I survived the bankruptcy, the breakup of the ABA, and some of the teams, of course, the Pacers succeeded, and they went on, and the New Orleans team and the Utah team, San Antonio, but the Oakland Oaks became a vague memory, and so at that moment I had the opportunity to invest in either the Suns in Phoenix or the Mavericks in Dallas, and I said, no, I'm through trying to own a team. I'm just going to play myself. And so I passed up the opportunity to become a multimillionaire with the other team. But I'm gonna meet Steph Curry someday soon and say, man, you owe me we created the 3-point play.
Yeah.
And so that was our contribution, and the red, white, and blue ball, I think, that the ladies still use, and that some of the players that we introduced, like Dr. J and George Gervin and others, loved that ball because they loved to spin the ball off the backboard, and the red, white, and blue ball was ideal for that.
Crazy.
Anyway,
Insane.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Switching gears just for a second, we had Pam Tillis on a week or two ago, and we talked about, your production of the One Voices for Tanzania. Talk about that and how you put that together and how you got all of the celebrities. Of course, Pat Boone calls, you answer, and, to put this video together.
Well, thank you for that. That's really why I'm talking to you right now. I think it's the single most important thing I may have done in my life because it's a lifesaver, literally a lifesaver. And over the years, recent years, I became involved with a company institution called World Serve, and they are involved in creating freshwater wells across the 40 nations. I didn't even know there were 40 nations in Africa, the continent. But yes, some of them small. We don't know their names in this country, but they exist. And I learned that kids in those countries have a life expectancy of 5. Think that over for a second. You have children, and when your child is born, chances are, but if you're living in those dry desert areas, your child is not going to live past 5 years. And so we wanted to do things about that. We have created several wells, that is with World Serve, operating out of Springfield, Missouri. But now we know that 319 million people that we know of that don't have water for their kids. And the women trek across the hot desert sands, maybe with a child, and carry as many buckets as they can handle empty. And they go to a muddy ditch somewhere and scoop up the muddy water out and scoop the stuff out of the water, and they trek back to it, and then they somehow clean out the water, and they give that to their kids. And then they wonder why the children don't live past the age of 5, and they're sickly even during those early 5 years. So I just feel like what I'm doing here with this, I wrote a song called One, and I felt like God gave me 4 definitions of the letter of the numeral 1. 1, I am one, like no other on the planet. I am one. In my oneness there is purpose, there is honor, there is courage. Like no other on this planet, I am one. Okay, that's one. But then another meaning is one when good people come together and we're united. We are one. We're supposed to be one nation under God. That's another use of one. And then finally, our God, O Israel, is one. And so I put that together, and then I wasn't sure. I recorded it in my latest album called Legacy. But then the World Serve Group said, can we use this as a fundraiser to encourage people to give water to save the lives of those children in those 40 nations in Africa? So, of course, we recorded it in Nashville. And as you mentioned, Pam was Vince Gill, Alabama, Lee Greenwood, Larry Gatlin, Pam Tillis, Deborah Allen, Billy Dean, Wendy Moten, and on, joined us. But while we were recording that, Jimmy Nichols and Frank Myers, who helped me somewhat with the chorus of the song, changing the melody direction, which was genius of them, while we were recording it, we found out about a group of immigrants. They're naturalized citizens, but they're American citizens, but they're from these countries like Tanzania, and they get together now periodically and honor their own mutual heritage in Nashville, Tennessee, and then they sing their songs, largely gospel songs, in Swahili, and that language, which is a goosebumpy language to hear, and when you listen to the video and the song, the recording of this song, I get goosebumps, not only goosebumps, but tears, because I know these people are singing in their language for their own loved ones, their own family. Watch out, I'm going to get teary here. But their own children who have a right to live past the age of 5, and they need fresh, clean water to drink. enable that to happen. So that's what it's about. Why I think it's the single most important thing, except for my own children and my life with my own family over these years as an entertainer, and still keeping the family together, and 4 wonderful daughters and 16 grandkids now and 17 great grandkids. That all these things are all important to me, but this single thing matters, because as we grow, and we are now, because as the song is being heard, it's on the internet, the music servers, and you guys and radio are letting people know about it, even see the video and send people to the video, and then to the simple website 14, that's the number 1 for Tanzania.org. And when it comes on the screen, there's a red button, we call it the giving button, and you can push that button, and it allows you to give coins or money or whatever your heart tells you. And I want to involve children. I want mamas and parents to let kids, give handfuls of coins and give to save the lives of other children like them. The children will come to, they'll benefit by knowing that they're helping save the lives of other kids. Anyway, I could ramble on, but I don't know what you want to ask me about it.
Well, no, I mean, you said everything about it. And the one thing that I said to Pam when she was on a couple of weeks ago, everybody needs and should watch this video. We'd like for them to donate, but if they can't donate, watch the video. And if that doesn't change your life and change your thoughts, then there's something wrong with you.
You are so right. I mean, I call it a God thing, because God made us in His image, all of us, every one of us, in some measure bears a resemblance to Him. And why He did that, why He created the whole human race, is He wants a family of kids. And that's the simple explanation, which I've shared with my own kids and great-grandkids in my final 90th birthday dissertation to them in a place where I had 60 people come in from around the country. I'm related to all of them, of course, and even helped create some of them. But I had a final dissertation as the patriarch of the family, and my theme was, who is God and why? And I'd love to share that with people.
Pat, you say you're 90. That's just so hard to even fathom, I feel like it was just yesterday when I was watching Journey to the Center of the Earth, one of my all-time favorite movies that you were in. And, when you talk about this, it's so important. Water is life, isn't it? You can't have atmosphere. You can't have any water is really the essence of life. And it's so important. And so many people that are in your position don't really use it in such a positive way. So it's wonderful that you're actually doing this. And I actually kind of want to take you back to your movie career. I got a quick question there. When you were filming, okay. I want to go back to my favorite movie as a kid, Journey to the Center of the Earth. And when you were filming that, what was it like being down there in the Carlsbad Caverns and, around all those stalactites? Because it's a really famous, you still get the tours when you go in there. Can you kind of take us back to that?
Yeah, it was spooky. It was everything echoed down there, and we had to film at night, even though it was pitch dark down there, because it's a tourist attraction. We were in the Carlsbad Caverns, and we were way down deep under the earth, and I, of course, there were times when I wouldn't be filming, and it was like 4 a.m, and I remember one time lying down in one of those caverns, and I put my head back under a low overhang of rock, and when I opened my eyes at one point, I saw a big white rat looking at me, and they were all albino, everything down there.
Oh my, that is creepy! A white rat? Was it big or was it small?
And of course, I jerked my head up and banged my head on the rock ahead of me, over my head. But it was very unusual to be down there at nighttime for 8 hours and filming places. As you see, they're real places. They weren't movie sets, and they were lit and sort of doctored up in some ways to fit the necessity of telling the story. But by the way, in the volcanic eruption, we were not with some giant reptile.
No?
But,
don't run it for me. I thought it was all real.
Well, there were Gila monsters, big Gila monsters that we could use in miniature sets wherever we had to. But for us, really, acting this out, and sometimes in underground situations and places where we supposed it had reached almost the center of the earth, which amazingly and unscientifically was this giant ocean, when really we know scientifically that it's a very hot place, which may be hell itself in the center of the earth, because the deeper you go, the more likely you're going to hit lava. But anyway, we had to abandon those scientific facts for the film. But it was great to do. It was, I was so honored. A Jules Verne, a classic, and it came about because they'd already done what was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, was another one that's been done with Kirk Douglas, I think. And so now I got to play the lead role in the other Jules Verne film. Now they did a new one later with all kinds of I forget what they call it, CT or C something. Anyway, it's CG. So it's all made up.
Computers. Computer generated.
We are at the top of the hour, Mr. Boone. Yeah. I really want to thank you for your time. One more time, how can people get involved? How can they help One Voices for Tanzania?
I am so glad you asked. Go to One for Tanzania, one word, ONEFOR, and then Tanzania.org. And as you do that, go there, click, and a red button will pop up, the giving button. And please do give and bring kids and let them give to save the lives of other kids like them. I think that'll be a great, great lesson for them. But more than that, it'll literally save lives. And read Matthew 10:24, I think it is, where Jesus himself promises a blessing from God to those who give a clean cup of water to a child.
Unbelievable stuff. And when they're done with that, then they need to Google Behind the Back Pass with Pat Boone. Yeah, Mr. Boone, thank you very much for your time. Enjoyed getting back on the basketball courts. I'm sure at some point you will do that. We are at the top of the hour. That is the legend himself, Pat Boone. We will be right back after the top of the hour.